Sports Illustrated, Ross Dellinger, new story about some of the debate and conversation behind closed doors at SEC spring meetings.
Yeah, so we talked about it a good bit at the end of last week. We even had Marcelo on. He's the guy that broke the story that there was momentum in favor of keeping it at 8 at least for now. Mm-hmm. And now, per the reporting of Ross Dellinger, and you've got some insight yourself that we'll get to, it sounds like that's what's going to happen. More of a can kicking down the road. It's not a permanent vote that if they decide this week to keep it at 8, that's not forever. That's just for now. But there's something important in Dellinger's story that I think we need to get out there because too many people during this discourse have said, well, if ESPN wants 9, they're going to get 9. They can't get 9 if that's what they want, based on the current contract. Now, they can offer more money as an incentive, but ESPN/Disney bought the rights to SEC football with the current number of conference games agreed to at 8. So ESPN and Disney cannot go to the SEC and say, we want 9. They can't do that. They have no grounds on that. The contract as written is for 8 conference games.
Mm-hmm.
And so the way that ESPN can get more is to pay more. And if they don't pay more, they may not get more. But the current contract says they're only paying for 8. And people need to realize that because, well ESPN's just going to make them go. That's not a factor here. They can't make them go. They can incentivize them, but they can't make them.
Hey, Dad, you look like you got the giggles.
Well, he pulled the Kevin from The Office there, where he did the talk, me talk less word. Why use more word? He's like, if they can't go, they don't go. I mean, I don't know what he said. It's like I could have caught it in there for a second. I was like, why use more word when little word do trick?
That's right.
So this is complicated by the fact that ESPN is owned by Disney. And Disney is going through a $9 billion cost-cutting exercise. And some of that is tied to ESPN. Now, as is the case with a lot of major companies, and I think you just saw it play out with the Pat McAfee deal, when you start talking about cost-cutting, big companies get real strict on things like travel budgets, per diem, reimbursing a $100 expense. Did you properly document that? And then they go out and they spend $10 million. And you're like, there are other ways to cut costs. I mean, saving $328 versus saving $328 million. It's if you can save the $328 million, you don't really have to save the $328. Seems to work out that way. That's not usually the way that really big corporations look at it. And maybe the SEC falls into that category. But ESPN has got NBA rights that are coming up. They've got...
And those are going to increase.
They are.
Believe what you want about the ratings and stuff, those are going to increase pretty significantly.
Because ratings are not what we know as there's value in live sports.
Yeah. It's the only thing that there's value left in.
Sports ratings are up across the board. Like in everything. Sports ratings are up. Cable news ratings are down. Sitcoms ratings are down. Nightly news ratings are down. Reality show ratings are down. Sports are up across the board. And so there's value in that. So, yeah, it's going to cost a lot. And they got a couple of other properties that are coming up that they're going to have to spend big on as well. My prediction, and it's kind of an educated prediction, is that ultimately ESPN is going to pay the SEC more to go to a 9th conference game. But it's going to be 2025 or 2026 when that happens. So there were a couple of complicating factors on the SEC side of things. If you were with us at the beginning of the show, I missed these. Number one, time is not really on the league's side anymore. And it's not like, oh, you can't redo the schedule. I mean, you can redo the schedule. That's not the issue. The issue is you got 14 teams that if you go to 9 conference games, 14 teams are going to have to buy out a game. Now, whether that's Southern Cal or Southeast Missouri State, that's up for debate. And schools have got to decide which game they're going to buy out, which game they're going to get out of.
Is that accurate, though? We say 14. Georgia and Georgia Tech don't have to buy each other out. Florida State, so there's no buyout there.
But each team has to buy out one of their 4 scheduled. Still, you've got to get rid of one.
They have to buy out, yeah, but it doesn't have to be a Power 5 game.
No, that's what I'm saying. I mean, the schools are going to have to decide which game they buy out, but everybody's going to have to get out of one game that is currently on their 2024 schedule if you go to a 2024 9-game SEC schedule.
And if you buy out your FCS team, I mean, you might as well just shut down FCS football because there's no coming back for them without those $1 million paydays. They have to have them.
Yeah, you're going to lose a lot of programs.
But they don't lose the money in the immediate term, right? I mean, they're going to get the money that they would have gotten for playing the game and for that particular year, and then it gets more competitive to schedule those games. I don't know what the
kit and caboodle.
I don't know what the buyout numbers are in the contracts. I don't.
But if those games go away, the programs will go away, even if it's not 2024.
Yeah, but they're not going to go away in their entirety. Some of them will go away.
What will end up happening is a merger of some kind with the FCS and Division II. That's coming. There's going to be some kind of merger.
So that's part of it, and the other part of it is Texas and Oklahoma are coming a year earlier than was anticipated. Now, maybe they should have anticipated that ultimately they were going to get out of it. But 2025 was the year. It's now 2024. Here's what I think is going to happen. Next year when we convene the spring meetings in Destin, and oh, by the way, there's division, right? Maybe even 50-50 on what the vote is right now in terms of schools that want 8 games versus schools that want 9 games. You got 14 teams right now. You're going to 16 teams next year. Texas and OU are going to want 9 games. That's going to swing the vote. I mean, if you're split 50-50 right now and you got 2 coming in and you know how they're going to vote when they get there, that tells you you're going to eventually get to 9 games. So, really what's fascinating to me is how much presidents listen to their football coaches, because football coaches have no say-so in this. They've got opinions, but they don't have a vote. It's the presidents that are ultimately going to vote on this. Is Nick Saban going to be able to sway his president? Is Kirby Smart going to be able to sway Jerry Moorhead at Georgia? Is Lane Kiffin going to be able to, is he going to be able to? That's what
Say it. You held up because it was Keith Carter. Is he going to be able to sway Keith Carter?
But
That's
what you're trying to say. Carter. It's not Keith Carter. You're talking about
Is it Glenn
Chancellor.
Boyce then? Just say it, though. Say it.
Is Lane Kiffin going to sway Glenn Boyce? Is Zach Arnett going to sway Dr. Keenum?
There it is.
Well, it depends on what they want and what the coaches want, right? Does Arnett want an extra SEC game?
I don't know.
Good question.
Somebody says, why is it set in stone that Texas and Oklahoma will want 9? Money. I kind of feel like Texas and Oklahoma have kind of been out there that they like the idea of 9. Maybe I made that up. Sports Talk,